Welcome. You're just seconds away from the Brian Brawdy Show, where listener participation is strongly encouraged. Well, unless, of course, you're easily triggered, then listener discretion is strongly advised. And if you fall into the latter camp, why don't you just mortal up already?
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Good afternoon, couple seconds afternoon here on the East Coast. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show, episode 535. Just say now, right? An obvious knockoff of, who was it? Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy Reagan, when the whole anti-drug campaign, and she would say, just say no. So clearly we plagiarized. We stole that. If you're new to the show, you're going to be shocked. What, they plagiarized? And if not, you're going to go, well, that seems like that's just the way Brian rolls. All right, welcome again. Thank you to everyone joining us here on Facebook, of course, over at YouTube. Where else do I have to thank? I thank iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, all the usual suspects. Thank you so very much for joining us today. And it's been a heck of a day already. We have a lot to get to. I'm in a unique position today of having the ability to fall back on some of my old law enforcement lingo. We'll be getting that in a little bit, but as always, let me say hello to Wayne. Wayne, how you doing? What's going on? What's new and exciting?
I'm hanging in there, still working on getting everything set up here.
No, I got you. Internet's been kind of freaky today, as has been. I had to call the email service, Microsoft Office, at least as far as GoDaddy goes. It's down. It's having a hard time. It's struggling, if you will. Right? Everyone's having a hard time there today, getting emails and everything else. So thank you to the good folks at GoDaddy and everyone else that's going to make that work. Buenos tardes, mi amigos. Henry, right back at you, brother. Thank you for joining us. And we got so much great comment yesterday, Henry, about your segment, about being expat Unleashed, I believe we called it, Wayne. So, Henry, thank you so very much. It was great to have you on. Great to hear your voice. And thank you for all the cool tips, because if you're one of the celebrities that's looking at what's going on, and I'm getting some breaking news now that says a Pennsylvania judge is siding, at least with the GOP, saying, yeah, you got to have more access than 100 feet in a telescope, right? If you're going to be accessing some of these ballots. So the federal judge granted that. There's lawsuits flying everywhere. So we'll just see. But if you're one of those celebrities, from Bruce Springsteen through Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky, Livin' La Vida, anywhere else but in the United States, Martin, then you're watching this vote. You're really invested in this, because you might have to get the hell out of here, right? You might be going, hey, if President Trump wins re-election, I'm moving to another country. I say, right, you cannot leave fast enough. We are so excited to think that whatever you're contributing to global warming here in this country, you will be on your way out. We're loving it. So you go get them, Tiger. Good a time as any, I guess, to announce our sponsors. What was it yesterday, Wayne? Hollywood U-Haul and packing with pods.
Yes,
so that if
sir.
you need any help getting the hell out, we're here to set you up. Yeah, we're here to make sure that you're going in the right direction. So we're here for you. We feel your pain is all we're saying. All right, Wayne, we've got so much to do today. I say we hop into our first segment and let it rip. Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. Nate Silver, and let me rise to his defense. And people say, oh, well, their system was flawed. Oh, well, their math was a little mashugana. I mean, these are the guys collectively, Quinnipiac and University, yet another Poison Ivy League, just brain power, right? Just a mental powerhouse, these people in the poll. And also Nate Silver at 538. I don't know how these guys and girls over there, I don't know how they keep these jobs. But in any event, they were calling for double-digit wins. It was going to be a landslide. One report I saw, Wayne, was that it was up to like 389 would be the Electoral College haul for the Democrats in this big blue tsunami, this big blue tidal wave going on. And guess what? Regardless of who wins the direction, it's pretty much split 50-50 right down the middle. So these guys are lowlifes making headlines. And here's why I say I don't think their numbers were necessarily, let me say this, they didn't fail. They did exactly what they wanted to do because these lowlifes making headlines are evil. So if you are at the Quinnipiac University, the Quinnipiac poll, please feel free to send me an email, you asshat, at brian@radiobride.com or Nate Sliver. A sliver of a chance of getting through this because everyone says, oh, Nate was a smart guy. Why? Well, he called President Obama's election both terms. So did I, you dork. You don't see me running around with whatever saying, oh, I'm a pollster. I called that President Obama was going to win in his first. Oh, and I'm so smart. I called his second term. Really? Wait for it, Brainiac. Everybody, repeat after me. Everybody called on Obama to win in his first term. Anyone with an eighth of a brain, everyone called on Obama. So now he gets his track record of being a brainiac, right? Nate Sliver, and he comes on and he says, "Oh, well, I can predict 2016 Hillary tsunami, double digit, right? Didn't happen." So he goes, oh, well, let me go back to the well again. Now, he's either the dumbest person on the face of the planet, right? Talk about secondhand stupid. You don't want to even stand next to this guy on the elevator because you could catch something, a pandemic. Some of this secondhand stupid. You could inhale this, and let's just hope that's not contagious. But he decides in the 2020 election, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, we didn't mention Washington Compost, right? Because we're not doing a Media Mania segment. We didn't mention the Washington Compost. Maybe we should have, right? Because they're the ones that were calling for a double-digit lead. They're the ones calling and saying, oh, 2020 is going to be another landslide. They're the ones, and let me say this, they're the reason that everyone was backing this blue wave, these pollsters, these evil geniuses. And let me tell you, here's why I call them an evil genius. And I said, everyone says, oh, well, their math was just off. Look, their math may have been off, but that's not their main gig. That's not what they hope to do. They hoped to put a finger on the scale of these elections to get them to play the way that they wanted them to go. Look, you could say they were flawed. Oh, they were stupid, this, that. No, they're brilliantly evil, cunningly evil. Because what they wanted to do was put their finger, right? They wanted to amend the outcome of a democratically run election. So stop saying, oh, I feel bad for these guys. I don't. They're evil. Evil, evil, evil. Lex Luthor's one and all. All right, Wayne, I want to continue the points. Let's run to our quick 10, and then I'll come back to this as to why I think they're evil, why I think pollsters are just like drug cartels. We'll be right back.
Lowlifes making
The
headlines.
views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply.
Lowlifes making
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.
Lowlifes making headlines.
Okay, we'll just kill. All right, is there an echo in here? Echo, echo, echo. So here's
Distorting the truth.
drug dealers. Let's just go with our drug dealer.
Lowlifes making
Here's why I
headlines.
say they're
Or as
drug
we like to
dealers.
call it
Because
around
they
here,
want the ability. All right.
Hold it up a minute, Brian.
Hold it up. All right. Thank you all for listening. Stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties, right? What would a little life be? Hello, Miss Putnam. Nice to see you. How are you? Thank you for joining us here on the technically challenged, at least for today. It's just weird. There are things going on. So, but here, let me belabor the point for everyone that's here on the RadioBry.com. Everything that's working out that way, we're very excited about it because Radio Bry continues to climb in the polls. Thank you so much for everything you've done to listen. So I'll continue to expand on why I say these people are drug dealers, because they want to affect an election. They couldn't care less about standard points of deviation, how far away they are, any of the rest of this statistical mumbo jumbo that they claim they're so fired up about, right? That they claim, oh yeah, here's what's going on. We want, we want to make sure we're telling the truth. They have look, either they do not know how to do long division, right? They just can't even master the most basic of mathematical concepts. The most basic of mathematical concepts. They either can't master those or they're cunningly brilliant. And they go, look, we know humans as a whole. They want to be in the point. Thank you, Wayne. They want to be in the point where they're backing a winner. So let's just say that the guy or the girl that we want to win, let's just say that they're the winner so that we can affect the race. We can get everyone going, I want to vote for a winner, damn it.
Lowlifes making headlines.
This is
Lowlifes making headlines.
Right,
Or as we like to call it around
we'll
here,
just go
brains
with
that
the-
make your
we'll
blood
go with the
boil.
riff.
Here's your brittle
Here's the
brain
block.
atop a balsa wood spine
Let's just-
for today.
Let's just keep the audio going so that we can continue to go out, and we will get back on top of the graphics and everything else. Sorry for everyone here that happens to be. But we will keep the audio signal going while our technical folks work on the issues. So here's what I'm saying. They're absolutely fine misleading you, because that's their intent, and they want to do it with math. Science, I say, damn it, science. Well, these guys can go statistics. I say math. They throw in terms like standard points of deviation. The only deviation is you dimwit. So we should get off these guys' back. Now, I know yesterday you say, well, you called for Nate Sliver to get a job as a dog walker, or maybe he could sell Cutco knives at a multi-level marketing firm. Yes, Nate could absolutely do that. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. That's what he should do, because, one, we should be done listening to pollsters. They're drug dealers. They get themselves on TV when they're busy doing their Julius Caesar comb over for their bald spots, because they know the brainiacs and the mainstream media will put them on to just mainline more heroin straight through, absolutely straight through to their audiences. Why? Because they want their audiences to stick around so that they can sell them more tchotchke baloney, right? More trinkets, more whatnot during the commercial breaks. So everyone over at MSNBC or the Circus News Network, or any of them really. Look, let me just say, even if you're watching Fox, I can't take any more commercials for My Pillow. I just can't. Or you listen to what I call QVC for conservatives, right? And Hugh Hewitt. Let's say this about Hugh Hewitt. Talk about being a drug dealer. Gets on all the time and talking about, this Chuck Todd over at Meet the Mess. This Chuck Todd, he's too good. He knows what's going on. He's one of the sharpest minds. Yeah, but what Hugh doesn't want you to remember, what Hugh is scared to death for you to draw the lines, connect the dots. What Hugh is terribly afraid of is that he doesn't want to lose his contract at MSNBC. He's like, oh no, I'm coming to you from live in the Beltway. I'd like to take the belt and use it around you, right? Just get enough in around your diaphragm so you've got no air left to breathe. Because if you're Hugh Hewitt singing the praises of little Chucky Todd over at Meet the Mess, because you don't want to affect your contract at MSNBC or NBC for that matter to be a commentator on election night. Shame on you, Hugh Hewitt. Shame on you. Enough already. Right? So stop acting like you're the bastion of all things good when you keep saying, well, I want to get Chuck Todd on because you want to protect your paycheck from NBC. If you don't like it, find me and do something about it, Hugh. All right. So in any event, that's why I say the pollsters are drug dealers, because they want you to buy into what they believe, because everyone likes to back a winner. everyone likes to, right? Well, I don't want to say I support a loser, so I'm going to back a winner. So these pollsters from the very beginning, they're going to call Washington Compost. You find it odd that all the people, there's a 80% chance, a double-digit win, 380 some odd electoral college votes for the Democratic Party. It's going to be a landslide. It's going to be a tsunami. It's going to be an earthquake like you just can't imagine. Well, guess what? They were wrong, but they intended to be wrong. They just wanted to affect the vote, so that's what they did. Because let's be honest, this will only get me in trouble. But again, here's a good point for the disclaimer. I couldn't care less about your opinion of me. I couldn't care less. Doesn't matter. Couldn't care. So keep the emails coming. You're telling me that 50% of the people in this country wanted to vote. Now just think about this for a second. 50% of the Democratic vote, I think it's fair to assume, thank you, Wayne, I think it's fair to assume that 30% of that vote is an anti-Trump vote. Because is it your belief, thank you, Wayne, is it your belief, you're telling me that 50% of the people wanted to elect a party whose vice president is as left as anyone we've ever seen in this country run for office? That's your opinion. That's what you think. And the mainstream media and these pollsters, look, they think you suck, right? They think you're as gullible as a country day is long. They think you're malleable. And if they can make the polls work in their direction, they're absolutely all over it. My apologies again to the people watching on YouTube or Facebook. You should just go ahead and not even look at it. I can't.
It's working.
Well, my picture's so pixelated, I can't even tell it's me. And I know I'm the one sitting behind the microphone. So it can't be working that well. So what I'm suggesting is just give a listen because, look, I have a face for radio, right? I have more head scars than most Vikings. I don't even know why I put on a clean shirt and why I shave anymore every time before I come down here, right? So we're apparently having some type of internet connection because I look as pixelated as Governor DeWine here in Ohio that one time when he came out to announce his latest shutdown order, and it was totally pixelated. And I go, well, that's one way for not tying your face to the voice of a shutdown. So there you go. All right. So now here was another segment. And Wayne, do we want to try to run to another segment?
Yeah.
Even though we're having internet issues, you want to try to do that?
Let's
All
give
right,
it a
let's
shot.
go.
Oh, please. Enough. Why not give it a rest already? No one around here is drinking your Kool-Aid.
Please segment, please excuse the green screen. Our Oh Please segment, let me cross my arms. Our Oh Please segment is for the Circus News Network political distorter, host of the Van Jones Show, giving hosts a bad name, let me tell you that, and the Redemption Project. What do we need to be redeemed for? What do we need to be redeemed? In any event, Anthony Van Jones, I don't even know. Was it Anthony Capel? Anthony Capel?
That's his whole name, but they just call him Van Jones.
Van Jones, they abbreviated, apparently based on his intellect. Another Poison Ivy League brainiac. Oh, he was so hurt. I'm just hurt. I'm full of pain, he says, because it's clear with this result that 50% of the people, right? I wanted a moral victory. Well, I got news for you. When you were at school, Mr. Jerky, did they convince you that elections were about moral outcomes? He was outraged over at the Circus News Network. I don't know. How do they do it? Look, here's the thing. Do you know why sometimes I catch myself and I go, I hope Joe Biden is the next president? Do you want to know why, Wayne?
Why is that?
Because Circus News Network and MSNBC, they'll be having a garage sale long about January, right after the inauguration, where they're going to be gone. Right? They're not going to have anyone to make evil. They're not going to have anyone to ricochet off of. They're not going to have anyone that they can push back on. So in those moments where I go, yeah, you know what, it'd be cool. If Joe Biden wins the presidency, I don't have to look at Van Jones's smiling mug anymore. Oh, I'm just hurt. The nation is full of pain. 50% of us, 50% of the nation, we need redemption. 50%. I wanted a moral victory. I don't know about you, Wayne, but I didn't know we went to the polls to vote for a moral leader. I've never wanted a politician to be a moral leader. Moral leader. What an asshat. If you don't like it, please feel free to send the emails to Brian@radiobry.com. All right, Wayne, we're still having some kind of issue where my picture's all pixelated, so maybe even if that's the case, if it continues, just throw up the logo to the show. All right, so here we are at 21 after the hour. I know we're going to take a quick, like a 10-second, just a reminder. It's not even a break. It's like a 10-second reminder. Wayne?
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests.
All right, we do love our guests. Can't get them to hit a call time. That's why some of them are pre-recorded. Again, my apologies for all the pixelation. We haven't been able to figure out the internet that much today, but thank you so very much for listening. All right, so here we go. We have another segment, and it kind of dovetails into this segment. So why don't we just get to it, right? Because our lowlife's making headlines, and then you got, oh, please, Van Jones. Is it Van Jones? Is that right, Wayne?
Yes,
I can't even remember this idiot's name. Van Jones, how morally outraged he is. Maybe he should move as well. If he doesn't like it here, maybe he should get, you know what I mean? Maybe he should get the hell out. That would be, in my book, that'd be just as good. Or just ride the tidal wave out of CN and the Circus News Network and MSNBC when their organizations close down because they got nothing left to pick on. They got no one left to pick on. They got no one left to bully. So let's run. We have a third segment, and you'll be surprised how it all dovetails together. Wayne, what is that segment? Oh, the Woke Spoke Choke Files. I absolutely. Oh, you know what? I have a question for you. The woke, just when can we expect them to wake up? Right? When can we? Is there like a time frame on that, Wayne? I don't know. Maybe a calendar date.
Yep.
Sometime. When will they wake up? So let me ask, why are we doing the Woke Spoke Choke Files for today? I want to make sure I get this. Oh, Joy Reid, Joyless Reid at MSNBC. She makes another segment. Now, if we had time today, we would have absolutely gone on and created, thank you, Patricia, very much for the suggestion yesterday. We would have absolutely gone on and created the Lowlife's Making Headlines Hall of Fame, because Joy, she just keeps winning over and over and over again. Isn't that something? So we should absolutely put her, she'll be our first, Wayne, she'll be our first Hall of Fame inductee, if you will. That's the way it's gotta go. All right, so Joy Reid is busy talking, and it may have come down after election night, okay? But she basically has come out and said, if you follow anything in the news, she's in the news because what she said was that the close election shows widespread, ready for this? Here's her wokeness, quote, racism, anti-blackness, and anti-wokeness in America. MSNBC, Joy Reid. Close election shows widespread, quote, racism, anti-blackness, and anti-wokeness. Well, let's just say, for those of you listening, anti-wokeness put me down for two huge, healthy pylons of a scoop, right? Because if this is a raisin, that's 2 scoops of raisins in a package. Put me down for as much anti-wokeness. If your sense of intelligence is what wokeness means, I'm as anti-woke as they come, right? What the close election shows is that there isn't rampant racism in this country, but that people like you and Van Jones and the pollsters and everyone else that wants to convince us that we're somehow flawed, that wants to convince us that we're somehow racist, that we're sexist, that we're homophobic, that we're all these things. Talking about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, you brainiac. These are the reasons why we created Brittle Brains Atop Balsa Wood Spines, just for people like this. The close election, just like Van Jones. Oh, I'm just hurt, right? It's just painful. She says, quote, racism, anti-blackness, and anti-wokeness. That's what you got with a close election. How does she keep her job? because MSNBC is going to be out of work pretty soon. They're going to be gone pretty soon. Then what are you going to do? That's why she makes she's not only a member of our Woke Spoke Choked files for today, but she will be our Hall of Famer when it comes to lowlifes making headlines. Wayne, it looks like you're working busy there. How's everything going?
It seems to be going. It looks like everything's working a little better. Your pixelation is off and on.
All right, groovy. So we'll get with that. My apologies if you're watching this show. The first question is, it is a radio show, but in any event, I get you. I like to watch. I don't like to watch myself. You should know that. I never watch any of the broadcasts. Even the times that I've been on television, all these times, I never watch. I don't like to see myself. I'm one of those, right? In that regard, I get it when the people said, "Oh, you're half Howard Stern, half Rush Limbaugh." I get the Howard Stern part where he doesn't like the way he looks, right? Ichabod Crane with long hair, a nose that walks into the room before he does. Well, I'm the opposite of that. I've had a hair lip for so long. I hate seeing the reflection of myself. I hate seeing my picture on camera. But in any event, it is a radio show. So thank you so very much for sticking with us. Don't forget, you can hit us up at radiobri.com. That's radiobri.com. You can also catch the signal at mortalup.com. We're very happy to have you, however you've gotten here. All right, Wayne, so I don't know, did you see that story? So because we're 50-50, a full half of us in this country, forget the fact that 25, if not 30% of the Biden vote is an anti-Trump vote. No one has the courage. No one wants to say that. None of us want to believe it. But a huge percentage of the pro-Democrat vote was the anti-Trump vote. Why not at least have the what is it? The intestinal
courage.
fortitude. Well, the courage. Thank you. I was going to say balls, but no one would have liked that, right? So I didn't say balls. I caught myself. At least have the balls to stand up and admit what the truth is. 25, if not 30% of the vote was an anti-never Trumper vote, right? At least have the courage to admit it. So Van Jones and Joy Reid and all the other people going, I'm just mortified. Oh, it's painful. It's painful. It's just painful that half of us voted this way. It's just disappointing. And let me say what's disappointing before we run to the bottom of the hour break. You and I both know you don't suck. You're not a coward. You're not gullible. You're not all the things that the mainstream media wants to pin on us, wants to tarnish us with, right? They're all over. They want you forfeiting a positive belief in yourself, because in that vacuum, they're able to paint you any way they want to. So they're all over it. Don't buy in this morning. If you take nothing away from this show, don't buy in to the concept that you're somehow flawed, that you're somehow fragile, that it's normal. It may be normal, but that it's natural for you to forfeit who you really are. What a boatload of BS. Don't buy into it. It makes their life easier. And two, talk about fake news. It's just not true. You're a rock star. They don't want you remembering that status, though. They don't want you working the red carpet. How can we ever control you if we can't corral that healthy sense of self? They don't want to let that in. And the good purveyors of BS over at Circus News Network and MSNBC, it's my prediction. Oh, who are you, Nate Sliver? Oh, I'm going to predict President Obama wins. Really? What a brainiac. All right, Wayne, let's run to the bottom of the hour. Let's open the phone lines, as I said earlier, to a post. Breaking news. Hold on. Breaking news. PA court delivers big legal win. That's their quote to Trump. Mandates GOP access to ballot counting. Here we go. All right, so we're getting a green screen up on. Clearly, we're having some technical issues today. It's not just the Microsoft Office at GoDaddy, but we're having some technical issues all the way around. We will get them ironed out. And like I said, just crank up the volume, right? Because we say all the time, if you can't watch, just listen. Crank up the volume. And thank you all so very much for listening to RadioBri.com over, oddly enough, at RadioBri.com. All right, Wayne, there you go. Let's run to the bottom of the hour. Then we'll open the phone lines.
You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Why? Because you know the truth when you hear it. He'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Brian Brawdy Show, brought to you by our good friends at Counterpunch Media and Certifiable Brilliance. It's time to buckle up.
All right, let me say hello to Miss Putnam. Miss Putnam, thank you for joining us, as well as Henry, Priscilla, thank you. Greg, thank you. Everyone joining us today for episode 535, the technically challenged version of episode 535 of the Brian Brawdy Show. Just say now.
Let me just
Now,
give
don't
you a
forget-
heads up.
I'm sorry?
A heads up. One of the reasons
Shoot.
we're having problems is because they're having internet issues across the country today, right now.
Isn't that amazing,
Yeah.
Wayne? Do you know why they're having internet issues?
Don't know why, but they're showing
You're-
all kinds of outages.
Okay, do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Do you want to know why? Here's what we'll do. Let's hit the breaking news gong. I'll tell you why. All right, breaking news, because there's some positive news coming out of the people against the people who are trying to water you down, right? People trying to water down your wherewithal. Now the internet goes out on the same day that everyone's sitting, waiting with bated breath, as one would, right on the edge of your seat, on the edge of your couch to see how the election recount goes. Now there's internet outages all over the country. Well, isn't that just peachy? What say you, Wayne?
Yeah, it's across the globe.
Across the globe. Oh, yeah, nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. We'll just throw some glitches in the internet, right, to keep there from being anything, right? Don't look over here. I'm sorry, Wayne, if I could just ask a question, and you are infinitely smarter than I am, right? We know that. We argue about that all the time, right? That's what our fights are about all the time. If you could just explain for me, or maybe call Dana, have her come on the air and explain it to me. Since everyone and their brother is installing a 5G tower, you want to give me an idea as to how the hell the internet's going down all over the North America when you can't throw a stick without hitting a 5G tower?
It's not the towers, and it's not that. It's all the back end services.
Great, whatever, right? Who runs that show over there? Nate Sliver? Right? On the very day everyone's throwing pollsters under the bus for being evil, there's internet outages all over the place?
Well,
Oh, well, that's just, Alex, why don't you bounce me for doing conspiracy theory Jones kind of stuff, right? But let me just ask you a question. I'm not stating an opinion. I'm asking a question. Don't you find it odd, a little quizzical, that this is the day we're having internet outages all over the place, where they call out the media, mainstream media, when they call out politicians and they call out pollsters for all being in the same camp?
yeah.
If you're joining us for the second half of the Brian Brawdy Show, we're suggesting that a full 30%. Now, let's cut the guy some slack. Let's call it 25%. 25% of the vote for Democrats were anti-Trump votes, never Trumper votes. Right? Clueless Joe didn't amass 50% on his own. Are you kidding me? Really? Is that your theory? Cut me some slack. And at least there ought to be some people to stand up and go, yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I voted against Donald Trump. At least have the, Wayne calls it courage, the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say, that's in fact how you went. Stop already all the hysteria around, oh, President Biden, he's going to be a uniter. No, he isn't. Nothing about that guy unites. This is the guy that called someone a dog-faced pony horse soldier. This is the guy that said, oh, no, I don't work for you. Get out of here, man. I don't work for you. This is the guy with more verbal flubs. This is the guy you're going to, let me just say this, Wayne. Let me just say this. And I'm sorry I didn't think of this for the lowlifes making headlines a segment earlier. But who's the guy stealing Roger, not Roger Stone, the other filmmaker pretend wannabe, like 480 pounds. Michael, yeah, I'd like some more
Michael
cheesecake.
Moore.
Michael, give me some more cheesecake, more. Coming out and says his main fear is that the lame duck president is going to have access to the nuclear codes, right? That's your main fear. Not the guy that can barely say a sentence, right? Not the guy that can barely get through a thought.
Well,
without stumbling around. Talk about gibberish. A guy that can't get through a thought without screwing up the English language, you're going to give him the football? You're going to give him? And let me ask you a question, Wayne. Is it true? Now, I don't know. Wayne is also, in addition to being the executive producer, he's a crack statistician, right? And he does a lot of fact checking. Is it true that President Trump is the only president that hasn't gotten us into a war since President Eisenhower? Is that true?
That's what they're saying.
All right, well, we'll do a quick check.
Yeah.
Right, no one's watching because it's so pixelated. So let me pick up my phone and do some checking.
While you're
but
doing
it's my-
that, I just want to let everybody see why we're having problems.
Oh, great. Go ahead. You have anything but my face, right? Well, that's pixelated too. Oh, look at all the internet outages. Well, clearly the EU is trying to make a big run today. Look at everybody out in Europe.
And
Look
Asia,
at the outages out
Southeast
there
Asia.
for those of you that, yeah, look at that. European Union. Remember we said in that quote way back when, only tell them what you think you can get away with. And by the time we get away with it, it'll be too late. There's nothing they'll be able to do about it. Isn't that interesting? So apparently the 5G network in Australia, boy, it's bulletproof. And you know what else, Wayne? Can I ask you another question? I'm just in a mood today because I've had it with Michael Moore. Now put the damn graphic back up on the air, if you will. How is it, right? Of all the places on the globe that don't have internet trouble today, the biggest one is China. Greenland.
And
Maybe they don't
Russia.
have 5G in Greenland. I don't know, right? But are you kidding me? China is the only place that doesn't have an internet outage going down right now? Oh, yeah, nothing to see here.
Russia
Nothing at
also.
all to see here. Yeah, nothing to see. China, yeah, no, we're good. We're good at everything we do. Boy, the CCP, we have our finger. We have our finger on the pulse of all things internet. No internet outages here. European Union must be making a move today. Look at that. And look at all the East Coast. And look at the Northwest Coast of the United States, all without their internet outages. Oh, isn't that just peachy? Wayne, what say you?
Yeah, it's interesting, but I've seen it happen before.
Well, great. I've seen it happen before. Well, I'm just saying, right? The day that the pollsters are being thrown under the bus, that there was a collusion, that, that Nate, geez, my hairstyle reminds me of Julius Caesar sliver, is on all over trying to get everyone to throw an election. Isn't that just peachy? All right, Wayne, speaking about trying to get everyone else to throw an election, can we run the risk with our jousting with journalists segment today, or should I just dive right into it?
Let's just go with it.
Distorting the truth instead of reporting the facts? Why, I oughta. Instead, let me just congratulate you. You're today's contestant on Jousting with Journalists.
Jousting with journalists. Where are we, Wayne? Oh, Nicole Wallace. Well, that's a face that wants to make you drink, if ever there was one. I'll give you that. So here's the scoop. For all the other people that are like, hey, let's do what we can to throw this election. Nicole, boy, I'm waiting for a wave Wallace, right? Is that who we're talking about, Wayne? Is that the one?
Yes, it
Nicole
is.
Wallace, busy predicting the blue wave, right? Just apoplectic when it didn't happen. Nicole Wallace, here's a journalist, instead of reporting, well, she does work at MSNBC, She does work at MSNBC, Instead of reporting of the Deadline, anchor of the Deadline. Is that the name of her show, Deadline?
It sure is.
All right, so could you do me a favor? Not now, because I know you're busy, but could you make her, for the next graphic, anchor of the Brain Dead line? Could you just put the word brain in front of dead, so she'll be the Brain Dead line? Here's this, quote, reporter, end quote, which is why we have journalists in the graphic, in quotes. Here's the one suggesting, oh, if you don't like the outcome, or she says, I don't like the outcome. So now I can't tell if you can see in a graphic, but her coffee mug is right in front of her. Maybe she should check what she's drinking, because maybe they should do like a breathalyzer test before. Maybe that's the problem with Don Lemon. Maybe that's the problem with some of these journalists over at MSNBC, and the C-Scam, Steve Scully's old haunts. Maybe it's C-Scam, Meet the Mess with little Chucky Todd. Maybe. And speaking of little Chucky, boy, how'd you like to be Chuck Schumer today, Wayne? It's like to be Chuck Schumer. Oh, we're going to win the Senate. I'm going to spend $250 million in this race and another $180 million. I'm going to spend, almost $500 million so that I can get control of the Senate. Little Chucky Lex Luthor Schumer.
And then the question for him is, how did that work for you, Chucky?
How did that work for you, Chucky? Oh, speaking of how did that work for you, how about Nancy, look at my freezer full of designer ice cream, Pelosi. Guess she's not going to get a sweep in the House. Guess her boy Nate Silver was all wrong. Little Chucky Schumer. Wouldn't you here's why we should be doing dimwit dialogues, right? I think we should have dimwit dialogues as a daily segment, Wayne, because right now, wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall hearing the conversation between a little Chucky, boy, I can't wait to get control of the Senate, Schumer, and Nate, I'm going to comb my hair so that no one knows I'm bald, Silver, at 5:38. So in other words, Wayne, here's some breaking news. A lot of people don't know this. Nate Silver, let's get right to it. This just in. This just in. This just in. Two things for it, right? Because it's the breaking news gong. This just in. Nancy Pelosi will absolutely have an uphill battle becoming speaker again. That brainiac. Oh, and Nate Silver, in that he says, look, I want a bit of little truth in advertising. My company is no longer going to be 538. I want my name to match my IQ. Nate Sliver just announcing that his new company name is going to be negative 538. That's the new company. It's going to have a little minus sign. So it's a negative number, right? Getting right up there with his intellect. It's a negative number. So Nate Silver, you heard it here first. Breaking news. His new company name, Wayne, is negative 538. Don't know if a lot of people knew that, but that's why you tune in every day to Radio Bry, in case there's some breaking news. But let's get back to dimwit dialogues, Wayne. Wouldn't it be great to be a fly on the wall and hear the conversation between Chucky Schumer, speaking of comb-overs, and or speaking of plugs, Chucky Schumer and Nate Sliver? Wouldn't you love to hear that conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when now here you go. The pollsters are busy saying, Chucky, get out your American Express Black Card. We think Lindsey Graham is vulnerable. Chucky, get out your American Express Black Card. We think Mitch McConnell is vulnerable. I think both of them won by huge digits.
Absolutely.
Chucky Schumer, get out your American Express Black Card. No, the other one. We've reached the limit on that card. Chucky, we'll do the math. You're not smart enough to do the math. You just pander to people on the floor of the Senate. Hey, Chucky, get out your other American Express Black Card. We think we can take Susan Collins in Maine. She's down by double digits, says Nate Sliver from negative 538. Oh, guess what? She won by 8 points. So there's an 18-point swing. But wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall, Wayne, where Chucky, I can't wait to be the head of the Senate, Schumer, is having a conversation with Nate Silver going, you cost me $500 million.
Well, he may end up not even being the minority leader.
Great. When are we going to get rid of these brainiacs? That's what I want to know.
Not soon enough.
When does that happen? When does that happen?
Not soon enough.
So the dimwit dialogues, we should be having that conversation. And in a part, if I were playing Nancy Pelosi in the dimwit dialogues, I'd act as if I had a spoon full of some of that designer ice cream that was in my freezer, right? I'd sound like Marlon Brando in The Godfather with marbles in my mouth. That's what I'd be doing. And she goes, how am I going to keep myself in the lifestyle to which I've become accomplished? Boy, there was a Freudian slip. The lifestyle of which I've become accomplished, right? Oh, man. Well, from your lips to God's ears. How am I going to keep myself in that lifestyle if I'm not Speaker of the House? Wouldn't you love, guys and girls, to be a fly on the wall listening to that conversation? Now, that would be some dimwit dialogues. Or with Michael Moore going, "Oh, I'm scared to death of lame duck President Trump with his hands on the launch codes," but you're willing to give it to Slow Joe, right? That's the guy you're going to give it to. Yeah, that's you should have another cheesecake delivered, Michael, and enjoy the sugar coma. This is absolutely unbelievable. All right, Wayne, I think I probably already missed the break. Do we have one other thing we want to throw in here before we get to Mortal Up?
Yeah, we can run to the break here real fast.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's run to the break. Oh, have we even opened the phone lines? My goodness, I get carried away when all these public officials, right? All these guys are busy on the phone lines. Let me say hello to Jerry. Jerry, thank you as well. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Wayne, it's yours.
So the phone lines are tied up, are they? Well, you're welcome to leave us a message. And because your voice deserves to be heard, we just might play the recording on air. So sit up straight, take a deep breath, belt it out, and let us know what you're thinking.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
All right, there you go. 833-MORTAL-1. We believe you're the number one mortal. That's why we picked that number, 833-MORTAL-1. Well, a little bit of truth in advertising. We would have picked Mortal Up if that were available, but that's one letter longer than the number itself. So technically, we defaulted to Mortal 1 because that's our philosophy, but I really think we would have picked Mortal Up if it would have fit. Also, you can text us 8251. Also, don't forget, you can send us an email, brian@radiobride.com. Send us an email if the internet gods decide that we're still able to be on air. You can send us an email there as well. And if it's cool with you, once we get the email, we're just going to read that on air. So I would love it for any one of the people that think, and there's got to be all kinds of people that think I'm wrong in the positions, that are like, "Oh no, Michael Moore, he's obese because it's in his genes. It has nothing to do with the number of cheesecakes he eats a day." Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Very nice. Okay, good. So nothing to do with the cheesecakes, but drop us a line. Let us know, 833-667-8251 or brian@radiobride.com. Send us an email. We'd love to hear what you're thinking. All right, Wayne, what else is going on? Thank you for putting up that map about the internet outages. I'm telling you, here we go. I say it all the time on social media. Here we go. Right?
Yeah. Apparently that email issue you had earlier today was all tied into this.
Well, of course it was. Right. So 45 minutes I'm on the phone with the good people. I don't even want to say it, but the good people over there saying, "Oh, yeah, we're having a computer glitch." You couldn't have told me that in the opening 60 seconds?
Hey,
right?
That's the way they are.
That's the way they are. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 right? Like the Jeopardy music, elevator music is on all the time. There's nothing to hear, nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. So in any event, our apologies for any of the technical issues. Here's the thing. I know it's terribly stoic of me, but even though the internet is all down because the European Union is probably trying to take control somewhere, because the European Union is making a play on whatever's going on, and they, heaven forbid, they let the internet go, because then us regular folks, right, we'll be the ones that rise up. And how are we going to communicate if we don't have the internet? Next thing you'll be telling me, Wayne, not only are the internet's down, your email's down, you'd be lucky if you could even place a call. Do we even know? Hey, if anyone here in the thread wants to give us a call, send us a text. Let us know if the phone lines even work today. That would be a great thing to know, because maybe that's down as well. What say you, Wayne?
Well, I'm ready for the next segment.
I'm ready for the next segment. All right, let's hit it. What's the next time? Oh, Mortal Up, my favorite segment. So, Wayne, thank you for reminding me of that. I absolutely love this segment. And here's all I'm suggesting, is that don't buy into all the people. We say in one of the taglines for our show, we stand in the way of anyone standing in the way of you. Now, it's easy in this day and age, right? It's easy in this day and age to say, oh, there's all kinds of pundits, there's all kinds of pollsters, there's all kinds of politicians. So let's just abbreviate. So I don't have to say pollsters, pundits, and politicians. Let's just call them punks, right? So, Wayne, if you could, for me, from now on, shorthand, right? The algorithm, if you will. Whenever I'm referring to pollsters, politicians, or pundits, we're just going to call them punks here at RadioBri.com. So when I say punks, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Since everyone and their brother wants to rewrite definitions in the dictionary, right? So I'm just saying, we're going to rewrite the definition of politicians, pollsters, and pundits. We're going to call them punks. Since all the punks in the world want you to believe that you're somehow flawed, that you're somehow fragmented, that you're somehow, right, they don't want you being the full-on you. Because, do you know why? Because you don't suck. You're not gullible, right? And why are they frightened to death that you'll run a defragment program and you'll finally mortal up and bring your A game? Although I love, it's a tagline, I am plan B. You need a fallback position? We're comfortable. We'll be your virtual hitchhiker. The Brian Brawdy Show, we're comfortable being your fallback plan. But they're scared to death of you having a plan B. They love running the table on you. They love convincing you. Here's the thing, Wayne. I've got to tell you about it. Everyone's like, well, Trump this and Trump that, Biden this and Biden that. There's a whole group of us that couldn't care less who you pick to be your overlord. You have to know, there are entire groups of us that couldn't. Now, we'd love it if you had a Mortal Up bumper sticker. That one makes sense. But there's an entire group of us that couldn't care less about your bumper stickers, your signs, your this, that, right? Whatever. That say, look, whoever your overlord is, whoever you vote for as a politician, whoever you pick to be in place, until there's term limits, right? Until we pick a president. And here's the thing with the president, Rain. You're working out one day. You're sitting at home, doing whatever you're doing. All of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. Right, there's a knock on the door, and there are a couple Secret Service agents there, and there's a Black Hawk helicopter in your front yard, or there's a caravan of black minivans with the windows darkened out, right? And they say, Wayne, thank you so very much for answering the door. There was a nationwide lottery, and I hope you think this is good news. We hate to break it to you if you think it's bad news, but you're president for the next 4 years. You're welcome to button your shirt, grab some snacks if you need it for the road. We'll get your family later, but it's our job to get you to the White House. Then we'll have someone of merit. Then we'll have people. But as long as we continue to elect people that say, I've always wanted to be the president of the United States, or all these people saying, well, just how qualified is this person? I vote we put people in office that aren't qualified in the normal way. They're qualified in the natural way. I want people put in office that aren't qualified in the normal way because all they've ever done is, quote, be a public service, end quote. What? How many years service does Clueless Joe have? 40 some odd years of service?
47.
47 years of service should disqualify you. You want to tweet something around? All the people sending the hate mail, 47 years should disqualify you from living in the White House. 47 years of trying to cover your grit under the banner, your grift, under the banner of being a public service servant, that should disqualify you from the White House. All these people, we need people, we need people that we can count on. Great. Doesn't mean that you have to be a politician for 47 years to be able to count on them. Chances are pretty good. You've been a politician for 47 years. We can't count on you. And if I'm wrong about your beloved overlord, if I'm wrong about your beloved politician, please text me. You got an email address. You can email me now. Brian@RadioBri.com. Let's say this. Geez, let me see. Scratching my head, right? Has your politician voted for term limits across the board? Oh, no? Geez, I wonder why that is. I wonder why we don't have term limits in the Senate. I wonder why we don't have term limits in the House of Representatives. I wonder why that is. Oh, no, they're doing it for you. They're taking a hit for you. They're doing everything they can to protect you, but They can't get term limits through? Oh, wait a minute. But they can kill the filibuster, but they can't get term limits passed? Oh, I see. They can promise to stack the Supreme Court, but they can't get term limits passed. Oh, that's the kind of experience you want, huh? That's the kind of experience we deserve in this country. I'm here to call bullshit. What we deserve in this country is not someone that's been a politician for 47 years or 45 years or 40 years, right? Oh, well, that's experience that we can count on. That's experience that you can count on to have their hands in your pocket. And if you don't see that, drop me a line, let me know. You'll be tomorrow's lowlife making headlines. This is ridiculous that we in this country have to board up windows, have to be afraid, right? We have to be afraid that the political outcome isn't going to. Politicians are digging the fact that everyone's run scared with how this is going to go because you're giving them, we're forfeiting way more power than you and I ever should have. These guys and girls that have been doing it for 30, 35, 40, 45 years, it's time for them to go. And if you don't like it, email me. If you don't like it, text me. Just text me your name, right? Abandon your keyboard courage long enough to text me your name and go, no, I think they should be in power forever. And we'll make you tomorrow's low life making headlines. It's the least I can do for all the kindness you're showing the rest of us, for all the kindness you're showing future generations of our kids and our grandkids by letting politicians run the show. 60% in the exit polls, they want you to believe. 60% of the people in the United States believe in more government. Really? That's a poll that little Nate Silver, when he's busy combing his hair over in the mirror, and then he says, oh, by the way, 60% of the people want more government in this country. Mortal up. Realize that you're the one that dictates what happens in your life, not a career politician. All right, Wayne. Sorry to go on. Let me see. I'm glad that I can see that at least Henry's getting through, and we know that it hasn't. Henry Noel gives it a thumbs up. Henry, thank you very much, Brother Noel. Thank you very much. Gives it a thumbs up. Oh, but apparently there's no internet trouble, Wayne, where Henry is.
Oh, there is in northern Ecuador.
Only in this country.
No, northern Ecuador has trouble.
There could very well be, according to your graphic, but Henry's getting through. Right. So at least I just find it fascinating, Wayne, that Europe is suffering what looks to be from your graphic a total blackout. And we're here in this country with a total blackout on the day that I think is going to be pretty big in terms of the direction we're moving forward as a company. But don't listen to Van Jones. Don't listen to Joy Reid. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What makes it more interesting is the outages are in the EU and the US and Southeast Asia, but not in Russia and China.
Oh, yeah, nothing to see here, Wayne. Nothing to see. Nothing. Oh, so in totally communist governments, internet's running fine. Got to get your stamp port passed for Moscow or Beijing. Got to get it stamped. Maybe, oh, you know what? Maybe some of the Maleficent 7 from yesterday, maybe they'll be moving to China or to Russia because they can count on their internet to always be up so that we're subject to their drool on Twitter and on Instagram.
Nah, those that's
Talk
platforms.
about brittle brains and top balls of wood.
Those platforms are banned in China.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what do you got to do? Oh, Me app, We app, TikTok, whatever. All right, we got to get ready to get out of here, Wayne. It looks like we ran a little bit over for those. Thank you so very much for Henry for sticking with us. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for everything you do. If you're watching here, as pixelated as it is, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you so very much, and thank you for helping our numbers just skyrocket. So we appreciate that. Thank you for listening on Radio Bry or MortalUp.com, and of course, if you're catching the rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. Thank you so very much, Wayne. As always, thank you for everything you do. We are out of here.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.